Welcome back to another episode of Wild Sports. I'm your boy Fu. Got my boy Sean with me here. We're
What
going to
up?
be doing a little review of our last week's Alabama Georgia, and then a preview of this week's game. So jumping back to last week, you want to go Georgia or Alabama first?
We can do Georgia because I think Alabama had a much more interesting game.
All right.
Georgia played the UAB Blazers. It was a pretty good game. Georgia, they scored first. They scored quick, which was something they haven't done all year. But then they did stall out for the rest of the quarter. I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of these new clock rules. I feel like the time flies by, and it's just like the opportunities that we used to have in each game, we just don't have as much anymore. Um, but I mean, come out in the second quarter, they come, they score pretty quickly. Uh, Georgia pops off three more touchdowns to take a pretty comfortable lead. Um, Gave up a pretty bad long yard drive, really short amount of time to finish the half, making it a two-score game going into the half. Georgia popped three more touchdowns and then gave up one towards the end of the game. That the final ended up being 49-21 in favor of the Dogs. The spread, what was the spread again?
It was, I think, 46
Yeah, I
or
think,
2.
man, I gotta start writing down what we say. I want to keep up with that.
I did take note, and we were way off in our predictions.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't doubt we were way off in the scoring
I
prediction.
even had one
I
thing.
think I said UAB covered though.
You
I
had,
can't.
yes, you had the dogs 45-6, and I had them 52-3. So
Gotcha.
we were all over Georgia's scoring,
We
but I
were
guess
right there in the
we, we,
middle.
we didn't see UAB. But what I did notice, I did get to check a little bit of it and kind of what we talked about and what you wanted to see and some of what I wanted to see. It looked like they let Carson Beck start slinging it around a little bit, and Brock Bowers got involved big time. So, um,
He did 9 catches, 121 yards, two touchdowns. Dang. I wish I had the stat. He's broken, I'm going to look it up. Um, but I mean, it was a pretty solid performance all around. Defense played okay.
yeah,
Um, Not up to what I would want them to, of course. I don't want 21 points to UAB at all. Um, yeah, I guess I'm not going to find it. The only thing I can see is it's a comparison between Stetson's stats up to this point last year and Carson's, um, which is surprising, but that's okay. Moving on to the preview of this upcoming week's game. We're going to Auburn. Uh,
tough place to play.
it's a very tough place to play. It's a one I'd say top three rivalry for Georgia. So I think it's gonna be a tough game, and I think it's gonna be a lot closer than people think. The spread's 14.5, and man, I don't know if I can take that.
Seems a
Offenses,
little low.
what'd you say?
Seems a little low to me.
Seems a little low.
Yeah.
I could see us like taking over the spread late in the game. I think it's gonna be a little bit of a dogfight, honestly. Auburn's defense always plays well against Georgia. I mean, they did just give up 27 to Texas A&M last week, but that was at Texas A&M. This is we're coming to their house. I think I'll take the spread. Honestly, I think we're gonna be a thorn in Peyton Thorne's back. If we just redo what we did last week, getting our playmakers involved early. I'm telling you right now, one time this year, getting a slow start is really gonna hurt us. We gotta figure out how to not have a slow start and really, you know, put the gas put the gas down quick.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, there's not too much to say about this game. I only, you know,
Couple of things.
um,
Couple things I know. I agree with you. I think I want to see Georgia, and these are two teams that I don't like. I mean,
Blue.
being an Alabama
Tired.
fan, obviously Auburn can't stand them. But growing up in the state of Georgia, down the road from my boy, I knew a lot of Bulldog fans. So it was almost like y'all were my in-state rival because I lived around everybody. Um, but what I would like to see is Georgia put together full quarters. I've seen Georgia play really well in the second half. South Carolina, those games that kind of start out flat, put it on in the second half. And then UAB, I mean, look, you don't want to see them give up 21 points to a struggling UAB team, but, it looks like UAB scored one late. But, um, I think Georgia needs to put together four quarters, continue the letting back, but I think Auburn's struggling. I think they're struggling. I watched them last week. Um, that offense is tough to watch.
Yeah.
Quarterback not
Uh,
getting the ball out, bringing in Robbie Ashford, um, trying to get a change of pace going. We've seen him be able to do some things in the past, but I think Auburn struggles with this. I think it comes out fiery playing in Jordan Hare, but I just think Georgia's way too much for him. My prediction: I got Georgia 31, Auburn 10.
okay, we're close. I have 34-17. Yeah. So
34
we're
17.
you had what? Would you have 10?
Yeah, 31-10. So,
31-10. So we both have the cover. Um,
yeah, it should be a
yeah.
good. I mean, maybe be interesting for a little bit, maybe, but you never know these games. It'll be interesting to see 2:30 or 3:30 your time,
Yeah.
CBS. Um, you know, we'll
I'll be
see.
over at old Hickey's house.
Oh, Hickey. All right. Moving over to the Alabama side. Thank God they pulled out the win against Ole Miss. We knew the house was on fire in Tuscaloosa. We had to put it out, and
Yep.
um, I think we showed some good signs last week. Rough first half. Started seeing a lot of the same stuff, shooting herself in the foot. Another touchdown callback. That's 5 on the year. And none that I can say really were, it's like not a bad call. The penalties were there. But came out the second half and played really good football. Defense played great. We talked about Lane Kiffin being the offensive mind he is, and Alabama came out and pretty much shut them down. Had some busted coverages at the beginning, same kind of thing we saw against Texas. Guys wide open, nobody even in the realm on defense, but locked it up. I mean, only giving up 10 points, to a solid Ole Miss offense with a good quarterback. Um, I thought also Lane Kiffin be a lot more conservative than I've seen him in the past. But overall, great defensive showing. Offense, you know, kind of established the run in the second half. Started moving the ball. I think Ole Miss's defense got a little worn out, and Alabama was able to take advantage. The big talking point, Jalen Milroe, showed pretty solid game. Of course, he threw his terrible interception. You know, I think that's what you're going to get out of him a little bit. But I think it's something you got to see him progress each week.
Yeah. I mean,
You
he
got to,
definitely had a solid game, going 17 for 21. One of those being a pick, so really 17 for 20 without throwing it away. I think you're spot on. I think the defense really led a charge in this game, knowing how high powered that offense is for Ole Miss usually. The fact
yeah,
that they were able to keep continuously stopping them definitely had the offense feeling pretty good going into the half, down 7-6 with you know only down one against Ole Miss. That's not too bad.
yeah,
Um, like you said, the running game got opened up. second half. I'd like to see. Hopefully, y'all continue that next week. Get the running game going early and working, the play action into the game for Milrow. Maybe even some play action design runs for him.
Yep.
Guy's so athletic. Use the guy.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
I don't.
I think you got to play to his strengths. But so to cover, I guess, finish up on last week on the review. My prediction 24-21. Got the Bama score right, but didn't give our defense enough credit. So I had 24-21 and you had 31-26. So
So I had a bit of a shootout.
you had a little bit of a shootout, but we didn't give the Bama defense enough credit. I mean, they played great. So moving on to this week, Mississippi State in Starkville. Um,
Got a disease, and the only cure is more cowbell.
I actually went there a couple years back. It's a great place to go. It's loud with those cowbells, but they really are good about stopping it. They're supposed to stop like I don't know 15 seconds before the play clock goes off or something, and they do a really good job of it. It's actually pretty cool, but good place to go. Late game, 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
Oh
Late,
wow!
very late. Um,
I don't
look,
know if I can do that.
I know I will be. Oh, you'll be up. You don't go to bed that early. I've never seen you go to bed probably before midnight. But no, I mean another test. I think should be able to handle it. But hey, this like I said, this isn't the Bama of old. And I've seen the Bama of old. I went in there. I don't know, 2017, I think, and it took Jalen Hurts hitting Devontae Smith on a fourth quarter touchdown to win it. So look, same thing. You got a quarterback last week. Will Rogers threw for 487 yards last week against South Carolina. So I think they're opening him back up. I looked; it looks like they kind of relied on the run a little more the first couple weeks. Got into a shootout in South Carolina, couldn't pull it out. So how does that defense respond again? You get against these offenses that are slinging it around, and if we have another one of those days where we're having busted coverages, it could get tough. Um, what I see interesting, Mississippi State struggles against the pass. They've really struggled against the pass this year. So
Yes, they
does
did.
Jalen Milrow kind of find a game where he gets a little comfort in throwing the football? I just want to see like kind of what you were saying, establish that run, bully ball, kind of getting back to it, which is kind of what I thought Alabama would be doing at the beginning of the season. Um, set up that run, open it up for pass for Milrow, let him get comfortable throws, and just continue to let him get better. Don't ask him to do more than he needs to do. Um, so Alabama's 15 consecutive wins against Mississippi State.
Oh wow!
Yeah, 15 consecutive. So, I think you let Milrow do his thing, let him get comfortable, run that football, and get some pressure on Will Rogers. Hunker down in that secondary because I think they might throw it 50 times. So, um, spread 14.5.
Another low one.
It is. It is. I've got Bama 34-17.
Okay.
What are you seeing?
So I'm kind of expecting Bama and Milrow to kind of not mimic what LSU and Daniels did against Mississippi State, but almost kind of rival it a little bit. Obviously, Daniels went nuts,
Yeah.
both on the ground and in the air, and the numbers were insane. I think he had like 430 total yards for himself.
Yeah.
I don't think Milrow does that, but I will say I think Milrow has a high completion percentage this week. I think he has at least 2 touchdowns passing, at least 300 yards. I think he has another 50 on the ground with a touchdown. So I think he has a pretty
Oh,
big game. I think he's going to have a pretty big game. I think the defense is really going to step up. I don't think the offensive line for Mississippi State is going to be able to contain Bama's pass rush, even though it really hasn't been too much this year. It's been okay, but it hasn't been what we've seen in past. I'm going to go with a pretty wide margin of victory. I think it's going to be like a 42 to let's go 42-13. I think that's what
42.
the I think it's going to be pretty close to start the first quarter and a half. I think Mississippi State's going to be kicking a couple of field goals. Like, oh, we'll still be close in the game, and I think Bama's just going to take off, start pinning their ears back and going after that QB.
So you got a big game out of Milrow.
I do. I think this is Milrow. Mississippi State's defense is just not very good. It might be a big rushing game for Milrow, but I'm gonna go ahead and sway to the passing game.
I like it. I
I
hope
can
you're
easily
right.
see him going for like 120 yards rushing.
Okay. I like it. I like your prediction. You got more faith in Tide than I do.
I
I
think it's
like it.
less faith in Tide and more no faith in Mississippi State.
Yeah, I got you.
I think y'all are a better team than LSU. Um, I don't think Milrow's a better quarterback than Daniels, but I think he's
Yeah,
more athletic.
yeah.
Uh,
I hear you. All right.
I hope
Well,
there's
y'all
fewer
heard it
receptions.
here,
What's his name?
huh?
I'm not naming him. I hope he gets no catches.
Burton.
Goose.
Burton.
None. Who? No, I don't know who that
Burton.
is. Don't know.
Hey,
Never
look,
knew.
we had a little we had a receiver kind of show up. Jalen Hale kind of poked his nose out last week. That's another kind of bright side. He freshman. They've talked kind of big about him, and he worked his way in there. And made some big catches, big touchdown. So we'll see. Maybe he takes your boy's spot.
He already
Probably not,
has
but he'll be worked in. So all right. Well, y'all heard it here first. We did the review.
two
We did the
covers.
preview. We got covers all around. Let us know what y'all think. Are we wrong, right? Alabama, big game. Georgia, big game. Y'all let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what your predictions are. Appreciate y'all coming out. Catch you on the next one.